At the beginning of the drama, Yoonju has come to the park with the school children, where her teacher asks her a question. Yoonju gives the correct answer to her question, and then she is very happy. After this, she comes home and feels happy after meeting her dad. Her dad is outside his restaurant at that time. Then he takes Yoonju and goes towards the house, which is near their restaurant. While going home, Yoonju tells her dad, "I want a brother." Dad says, "A brother is not such a thing that I can bring for you from a shop." On this, Yeonju starts insisting, I want a brother. I want a brother." Just then, a truck passes by Yeonju's dad. Seeing this, Yeonju's dad says, "It seems someone has come to live in our upper flat, and it is possible that your brother might be in it too." Hearing this, Yeonju becomes happy. Then these two go to meet them. In those people's family, there is Kim and his mom and dad. As soon as she goes, Yoonju holds Kim's hand and is very happy to meet him. Then, Yeonju's dad says, "You people have come to live in our upper flat, right? You are 3 people and we are 2. If you ever need anything, then you can tell us." Kim's mom does not like this talk of Yeonju's dad. Therefore, she goes away from there. So Kim and his dad also go after her. Then Kim's mom fights with his dad about being a family of 3 people. Kim's dad tries very hard to make the mom understand, but the mom does not listen to any of his talk. Their fight increases so much that the neighbors also come down to their building. Then they call the police and call them. When the police go to their house and knock on the door, Kim's dad comes out. Seeing them, the police officers are shocked because he is their new chief. Then the police ask, "Sir, is everything fine at your house?" On this, Kim's dad says, "I will tell this matter to you people tomorrow." Saying this, he sends them away from there. Then the police officers go away from there, saying they had a daughter who died because of an explosion. After that, their transfer happened here. While these two are talking, then all the neighbors and Yoonju's dad also hear their talk. Hearing this, everyone is shocked, and then they go away from there talking about them. By then, Yoonju wakes up and she asks her dad, "What were these people talking about?" Hearing this, Yoonju's dad tells her the whole matter, and along with that, also says, "Don't talk to Kim about his sister." Yoonju asks, "Why?" On this, dad says, "If someone talks to you about your mom, then will you feel good?" Yoonju says, "No." Dad says, "In the exact same way, if you talk to Kim about his sister, he will not feel good either. Therefore, you do not talk to him about this matter." Yoonju says, "Okay." Then these two are going towards the house. Then they see Kim sitting on the stairs. So they say to him, "If you want, you can come to our house and watch TV." Hearing this, Kim refuses and goes away from there. Then he comes to his house and sees that a lot of stuff is lying on the ground and his dad is picking it up. Actually, at the time of the fight, Kim's mom had broken many things, and now Kim's dad is picking up those same things. When Kim goes to his dad says to him, "Right, that your mom is not bad. She is just very sad." Kim says, "Yes, I understand." And then he also starts helping in the work along with his dad. The next day, the neighbor tells Yoonju's dad, at the time Kim's sister died, Kim was with her. For this reason, his mom keeps blaming him. "Your sister died because of you." Hearing this, Yoonju's dad feels bad for Kim. Then Kim comes to his house. Then he sees that his mom has not made anything for him to eat. Seeing this, Kim decides to make noodles. Then, as soon as he is about to make noodles, just then, he remembers about his sister. Actually, one day when Kim's mom and dad are not at home, Kim and his sister are making noodles. Then suddenly an explosion happens, because of which something happens to Kim's sister. Seeing this, Kim gets scared. Then he calls the ambulance. The ambulance comes and takes his sister. But when he goes to the hospital, then he finds out that his sister has died. For this reason, Kim's mom keeps blaming him. "Your sister died because of you." Remembering all this, Kim becomes sad. Then he does not make noodles and sitting outside, starts eating it raw. Then Yeonju goes there and sees him eating raw noodles. Then she goes home and tells this matter to her dad. So her dad makes something for Kim to eat. Then Yoonju comes to Kim with that food and tells him to eat, but Kim does not eat it and goes away from there. The next day, the neighbor brings a lady and her son, Hae-jun, to Yoonju's dad's house to introduce them. Then Yoonju is also there, and seeing them, she asks, "Who are these people?" The neighbor says, "This is your future new mom." Hearing this, Yoonju says, "I don't want a new mom." Then the neighbor takes Hae-jun and Yoonju outside and gives them ice cream and says, "You people stay sitting right here. I am coming right now." Then, after the neighbor goes, Hae-jun tries to talk to Yoonju, but Yoonju does not talk to him and gets up and goes away from there. So Hae-jun also goes after her. After going a little forward, Yoonju sees Kim, so she goes to him. Then Hae-jun also goes to them. Then from behind, 2 boys start saying many wrong things to Kim by taking his sister's name. Hearing this, Yoonju turns back and starts fighting with them. Then Hae-jun also supports her and fights with those boys. When Kim sees all this, then he also comes and starts fighting along with them. Then, those children's mom comes to Yeonju's dad with a complaint. These people have beaten my children. On this, Yeonju says, your children also talked about Kim's sister. Hearing this, those children's mom asks the children, did you really talk about Kim's sister? The child says, yes, I did. Hearing this, his mom starts going from there, taking her son. Then Yeonju's dad stops them and says, you should say sorry to Kim. On this, that lady says sorry to Kim and goes away from there. After this, everyone eats food together. Then Yeonju's dad goes to drop Haejun and his mom to the bus stop. Then he says to Kim and Yeonju, you people stay together and play right here. Do not go here and there. Saying this, he goes away from there. After this, Yeonju and Kim start playing right there. Then Kim's mom sees him playing, so she does not like it at all. After this, Yeonju brings Kim to her house and shows him her mom's photo and says, whenever I miss mom, then I look at her photo. I feel good by this. Then she says to Kim, you also, when you miss your sister, you also look at her photo. You will feel good by this. On this, Kim says, okay, there, Haejun is going in the bus with his mom. Then his mom receives a call from someone. When she hears the call, she becomes very worried. Here, Kim comes home, and after coming home, first he gathers the things. Then he goes to the study table and takes out his family photo from the drawer and looks at it, in which his sister is also there. Kim looks at that photo and keeps it back in the drawer. Here, Yeonju is sleeping, so her dad comes to her. So Yeonju says to her dad while sleeping, I don't want a new mummy. On this, her dad says, okay, if you don't want a new mummy, then I will not bring one. The next day, the neighbor says to Yeonju's dad, until now, no call from Haejun's mom has come, and I think she has changed her number. On this, Yeonju's dad says, perhaps I have not been liked by her. For this reason, she has not called. There, Haejun's mom is going somewhere after leaving Haejun with her sister. Then Haejun stops her, so she says to Haejun, I will earn a lot of money and then I will come back. On this, Haejun says to her, you come back soon. His mom says, yes, I will come soon. And then she goes away from there. Here, Kim's dad comes with his colleague to Yeonju's dad's restaurant to eat food. Then Yeonju comes to them and says, if I call Kim into my house to eat food, then you will not refuse, right? Kim's dad says, if you don't have any problem, then I will not refuse. Hearing this, Yeonju becomes happy. Then she tells this matter to her dad and then goes away from there happily. Then Yeonju's dad receives a call from Haejun's mom, and she says to him, I need some money. Can you give me some money? I will return it to you soon. Along with that, she also tells him to meet Haejun. Dad says, okay. Then first he sends money to Haejun's mom and then goes to meet Haejun. When he reaches there, he sees that Haejun is sitting outside. He asks him, why are you sitting outside? On this, Haejun says, I found out that you were coming. For this reason, I was waiting for you. Then he brings him inside his house. After going inside, Yeonju's dad sees that things are spread here and there in the whole house. Seeing this, Yeonju's dad thinks, Haejun is not being taken care of properly here. Then Haejun says to him, Uncle, I will make noodles for you. On this, Yeonju's dad says, no, I have brought dumplings for you. You eat this. Then Haejun starts eating those dumplings. Just then, Haejun's auntie comes there and she tells Yeonju's dad, my sister has gone somewhere and she has gone after giving Haejun's responsibility to me. But my studies are going on. For this reason, I am not able to take care of Haejun properly. Hearing this, Yeonju's dad asks Haejun, will you live with me? Haejun says, yes, I will. On the other side, Kim's mom finds the family photo from Kim's drawer, seeing which she becomes sad. Then when Kim's dad returns home, then he sees that Kim's mom has placed that photo on the table after tearing it. Seeing this, he asks Kim's mom what has happened. On this, Kim's mom starts getting angry and says, because of Kim, my daughter died. And Kim plays with his friends and has fun. Kim's dad tries to make her understand, what is Kim's fault in this? He is also still a child. Then Kim also comes out and he hears their talk. Then Kim's mom says, I don't want to live here. I will go away from here. Hearing this, Kim comes inside and both dad and Kim tell the mom to stop. But the mom does not listen to any of their talk and goes into the room and closes the door. Here, Yeonju's dad brings Haejun and gives him a room to stay. Yeonju is also watching all this, and she does not like this at all. Then Haejun says to Yeonju's dad, can I call you dad? Yeonju's dad says, yes, you can call me dad. Hearing this, Yeonju gets angry and she immediately goes forward to hit Haejun, but her dad catches her. Then these three are eating food. Then Yeonju says to her dad, throw him out of the house. Dad does not listen to any of her talk, so Yeonju lies on the ground and starts crying. Seeing this, Yeonju's dad says to Haejun, let her do this. You eat your food. Then those two start eating food after ignoring Yeonju. The next day, Kim is playing with Yeonju, then he sees his mom is going taking her luggage. He comes to her and tells her to stop, but his mom ignores his words. Then Yeonju says to Kim's mom, can Kim live with me and play with me? On this, Kim's mom says to Yeonju, if you want to keep him with you, then keep him. Hearing this, Yeonju becomes happy. but there are tears in Kim's eyes. Then Kim's mom goes away from there. Then we are shown a scene after 1 year where Kim is studying. Then Yoonju comes to him and tells him to play, but Kim says, no, I have to study. Then Haejun comes there and he starts playing with Yoonju. Here, now Haejun and Yoonju's friendship has also happened. Then Kim takes something to eat for himself. Then Yoonju and Haejun also come there, so he takes for them too. Then we are shown a scene after 13 years where everyone is having breakfast together. Then Yoonju says to them, whoever among us is the eldest should adopt us so that we can become a family. On this, Kim says, my dad is the eldest of all. If my dad adopts everyone, then your dad will become my brother and I will become your uncle. Come on, now you call me uncle. Hearing this, Haejun starts looking at him. So Yoonju says to Haejun, what is the problem in calling him uncle? After this, Yoonju stands up and says, no matter what happens, we are family and we have to stay together. Then these three are going to school. On the way, Yoonju says to Haejun and Kim, the girls who give you letters, you should reply to them, otherwise they beat me. They think she has not given our letter to them. Here we are shown a flashback where in childhood, a girl who likes Kim gives a packet of specific snacks to Kim. Kim comes home and gives those to Yoonju. The next day, Yoonju is eating those snacks in class with her friend, Park Doll. Then that girl comes there and asks Yoonju, to whom did you give these snacks? Yoonju says, Kim gave these to me. That girl says, these are my snacks. I gave them to Kim. You return these to me. Yoonju does not return those to her and runs away from there. Then that girl also runs after her to take the snacks. Here we are shown another flashback where many girls give letters to Yoonju to give to Kim and Haejun. When a girl gives a letter to Yoonju, Yoonju refuses to give it, so that girl also threatens Yoonju. Yoonju tells all this to Haejun and Kim, so they say to her, if anyone behaves like this with you from now on, then you behave like a psycho. Then they will not bother you. Then Yoonju is in school. Then two girls come to her and they give a gift to Yoonju to give to Haejun and Kim. On this, Yoonju refuses, so those girls push her and throw her down, because of which a wound comes on her hand. Seeing this, Yoonju gets angry, so she acts like being a psycho. She catches a girl by the hand like a psycho and takes her along. So the other girl runs after her. When Yoonju's friend Park Doll sees this, she goes and tells Haejun. Hearing this, Haejun immediately runs from there. Here, Yoonju is going holding a girl's hand. Then her foot slips, so she falls into the water. Then many students come there and start watching all this. Then a girl sees all this from the other building, so she tells this matter to Kim. Hearing this, Kim immediately runs in that direction. Here, Yoonju comes out of the water. Then she starts folding her hands in front of those two girls saying, don't beat me. Seeing this, a girl says to Yoonju, you look like a complete psycho. Oh, hearing this, Yoonju is happy. Then Haejun comes there, and he takes off his t-shirt and starts drying her off. Then Kim also comes there and he takes a jacket and wraps it around her. After this, Kim sees a wound has come on Yoonju's hand. So seeing this, he gets angry. He looks at those girls in anger, so those girls run away from there. Seeing this, Haejun and Yoonju start laughing. So Kim catches them and takes them away from there. Then after school, they are going home. When they get off at the bus stand, then rain starts. Kim says, you two stop here. I will bring an umbrella. On this, Yoonju says, no, we will go just like this. Then these three go away from there, enjoying the rain. Then at night, everyone is eating food. Then Kim receives a call from his maternal grandmother, so he does not pick up her call. Then this call comes to Kim's dad, so Kim's dad picks up her call and goes away to talk to her. When Kim sees this, he leaves the food and goes away. Seeing this, Yoonju says, when they have already left them, then why do they call? On this, her dad says, because they are still a family. After Kim's dad finishes the call and comes, then Yeonju's dad writes ex-mother-in-law in place of the name mother-in-law in his phone. There, Kim is in his room, so Yoonju and Haejun take food for him. Kim says, keep it right there. I will eat it later. Then Yoonju keeps the food right there. After this, she goes and sits on Kim's bed. Then she gets a very good smell from Kim's pillow. Then she tells this to Haejun. Then those two quickly bring Kim's shampoo bottles. Yoonju smells a bottle and says, this is that bottle. Then they ask him, from where has this bottle come? Kim says, this is that same bottle which was buy one, get one free. Then he throws them both out of the room and says, now my mood has become fine. Hearing this, those two smile. The next day, the teacher tells Kim about some colleges in Seoul and says, you should apply to one of these colleges. On this, Kim says, no, I will apply to some college here. Then there is another girl also there. Her name is Ju. Then when Kim is going, she says to Kim, I have to talk to you about something. Saying this, she takes Kim along with her. Yoonju and Park Dal see them both going. Seeing this, Yoonju says, where are these two going? On this, Park Dal says, I have heard they both are boyfriend and girlfriend. Hearing this, Yoonju is shocked. There, Ju takes Kim into a room, so Kim says to her, "Don't talk to me in this way. People will understand wrongly." On this, Ju says, "I am your girlfriend, right?" Kim says, "No," and goes away from there. Then Yoonju is standing outside Kim's class. Kim sees her, so he says hello, so Yoonju goes away from there without answering his talk. So Kim also goes after her. When both get off the bus, Kim asks her, "What has happened?" Yoonju says, "You have a girlfriend, and you have not told this to anyone." Yoonju gets angry about this matter and goes away from there. Then at night, Haejun's auntie comes to Yoonju's dad's restaurant taking gifts for Haejun, Kim, and Yoonju. Then when she is going, then she meets Haejun on the way. So she is happy to meet Haejun and says to him, "Don't trouble them too much." Haejun says, "Okay." Then Haejun's auntie's cab comes, so she goes away from there. After this, Haejun comes to the restaurant, and there he sees Yeonju's dad working. Then here we are shown a flashback, where in childhood, Haejun is cleaning the table. Then two men sitting there get angry at Haejun and say, "Clean the table properly. Look here, our table is not cleaned properly." Hearing this, Haejun starts crying. Then Yoonju's dad comes there and he gets angry at those men and then says to Haejun, "You don't need to work to live here. You can stay here just like this." Then everyone is eating food. Then Yoonju does not eat food. Seeing this, Yoonju's dad asks her, "What has happened to you? Why are you not eating food?" Yoonju says, "Just like that, I don't want to eat food." Saying this, she goes away from there. So Kim goes after her and says to her, "She is not my girlfriend. She is Haejun's ex-girlfriend." Hearing this, Yoonju says, "Are you telling the truth?" Kim says, "Yes." Then those two come outside. Yoonju first looks at Haejun in anger and then starts eating food. The next day, when those people go to school, then Yoonju says bye to Kim and goes towards her class and does not say bye to Haejun. So seeing this, Haejun asks Kim, "What has happened to her? Why did she not say bye to me?" On this, Kim says, "Because I have told Yoonju, Ju is Haejun's ex-girlfriend." Hearing this, Haejun says to him, "Why have you told her?" Then Kim starts running from there. So Haejun also runs after him. Then on the way, Haejun meets Ju, who tells him, "Come into a relationship with me again." But Haejun clearly refuses her and goes away from there. There, Yoonju tells this matter to Park Dal, so Park Dal does not like it at all knowing this because she likes Haejun. After this, Park Dal is standing in the ground. Then Haejun comes to her and asks her, "Why are you standing here like this?" Park Dal says, "I am just standing like this." Haejun says, "Okay." And then those two start talking about here and there. Hearing this talk of Park Dal, Yoonju thinks Park Dal likes Haejun. Then at night, Haejun brings cake and chicken to appease Yoonju, seeing which Yoonju becomes happy and agrees. The next day, Park Dal says to Yoonju, "A basketball match is about to happen and I want that you come with me to watch it." Yoonju says, "That is very boring." Park Dal says, "But I have to go at any cost." Hearing this talk of Park Dal, Yoonju understands Park Dal likes Haejun. Then Haejun is going. Then he sees a lady from behind, so he feels that she is his mom. For this reason, he goes after that lady and catches that lady, so that lady is not his mom. Seeing this, he says sorry to that lady and says, "I felt that you were my mom." By then, Park Dal is also right there, and she sees all this. When Haejun sees her, he goes to her and takes her to a restaurant with him. After going there, he says to Park Dal, "Whatever you have seen, do not tell it to anyone." Park Dal says, "Okay, I will not tell anyone." The next day, a man comes to the school. There, Ju comes to give a towel to Haejun, but Haejun ignores her and goes away. By then, Yoonju and Park Dal are also there. Yoonju says to Park Dal, "You don't worry, I will set you up with Haejun." Then that same man comes there. Then, seeing him, Haejun comes to him, so that man recognizes him after looking at a photo. Haejun says to him, "Who are you?" Then that man says to Haejun, "I am your dad." Hearing this, Haejun is surprised. Then these two are outside where that man has hugged Haejun. Haejun is surprised by all this, so that man says to Haejun, "Did your mom not tell you about me?" Haejun says, "Mom has never told me anything about you." Then that man gives a hotel card to Haejun and says, "You come and meet me here. I have to talk to you about something." After this, that man goes away from there. Then Haejun comes back, so his friends ask, "Is this your dad?" Haejun does not give any answer, so they say, "You look worried. Come on, let's leave today's practice." Haejun says, "No, we cannot miss practice." And then Haejun starts practicing with them. There, some letters have come to Yoonju. Seeing them, she is worried. Then a girl comes there taking report cards. So Yoonju goes and takes her report card and then comes to the seat and looks at the report card, in which her marks are quite low. Seeing this, she is folding the report card. Then Park Dal comes there and asks her about her report card. So Yoonju says, this is not so important. Then she is keeping that card in her bag. Then those letters fall down from her. When Yoonju picks up those letters, she finds a letter in them which is in her name. Seeing this, she is very happy. Then Yoonju, sitting on the ground with Park Dal, is becoming happy after reading that letter. Then Park Dal asks her, is the name of the one who wrote this letter in this? Yoonju says, no. Then Yoonju sees Kim, so she goes to him and is very happy. Kim, seeing her happy, asks, what's the matter? Have you got very good marks in your report card today? Hearing this, Yoonju becomes sad. There, Haejun is not able to focus on practice at all. Then his friend says to him, you are very disturbed at this time. Therefore, you go home. I will tell the teacher. Haejun says, okay. By then, Park Dal is also there, and she hears all this, and then goes away from there. Then Kim and Yoonju are going in the bus. Then Yoonju shows him her report card. So Kim says, you were becoming so happy for this? Yoonju says, no. Then she gives Kim his letters, and along with that tells him, I also got a letter from someone. Hearing this, Kim starts laughing at her. Who can give a letter to you? Hearing this, Yoonju does not show that letter to Kim. Then at night, when Haejun is returning home, then he is lost in his thoughts. For this reason, he does not realize, and he goes quite far. Then when he comes to his senses, then he immediately gets off the bus and then starts looking at that card. After that, he goes to Yoonju's dad and is about to tell him all this, but just then their neighbor comes there, so Haejun is not able to tell them anything. Then they go inside for some work. Then the neighbor auntie starts hitting Haejun while talking. Seeing this, dad gets angry, so he immediately comes and gets angry at the neighbor auntie, so the neighbor auntie goes away from there. Then dad asks Haejun, did you have to say something to me? Haejun says, I only had to say this much. Today's practice was very tough. Then everyone is eating food together. Then Haejun is very quiet. Seeing this, Yoonju asks him, what happened to you? Why are you so quiet? Haejun says, nothing, just like that. Kim, seeing Haejun here, thinks, there is surely some matter. Then Haejun is sitting on the roof, so Kim comes to him and asks, what happened? So Haejun tells him the whole matter, and along with that also says, how will I tell this to dad? When he finds this out, he will be very sad. Then Kim says, first we should find out why. After all these years, your dad has come here. Haejun says, you are saying right. We should find out this first. The next day, Yoonju and Park Dal are roaming here and there in the school and looking for who that boy is who has written the letter. But they do not find out about this matter. Here, after school, Haejun and Kim go to meet Haejun's auntie and tell her the whole matter. Along with that, they also give that card to the auntie which Haejun's dad had given. Seeing this, Haejun's auntie becomes sad and tells Haejun, when you were about to be born, then your dad left you and your mom and went away. And then we found out later that he has done a second marriage. Hearing all this, Haejun becomes sad, and then after saying bye to the auntie, goes away from there. Then those two are going in the bus. Then Haejun is very sad. Kim notices this matter. Then when those two get off the bus, Kim, holding Haejun's hand, takes him to a place with him. After going there, he asks Haejun, when will you tell this matter to Yoonju and her dad? Haejun says, never. You also forget this matter and think as if this never even happened. On this, Kim says, but we should know this, that earlier your dad left you and went away, so why has he come back now? Then these two decide we will go to meet him tomorrow. There, Yoonju is waiting for those two and is very sad. Then when they come, seeing them, she becomes happy and immediately comes to them. Then Haejun says, I have to take a shower, and he goes away from there. After his going, Yoonju says to Kim, tomorrow, my friend is coming home, so we will have a lot of fun together. Kim says, I will not be able to come. I have to go somewhere tomorrow. Saying this, he goes. Then Yoonju goes to Haejun and says, tomorrow, my friend is coming home, so you stay at home. We will have a lot of fun together. Haejun says, she is your friend, right? So you two have a lot of fun together. I will not be able to come. I have some work. The next day, Park Dal comes to Yoonju's house, so Yoonju says to her, I have called you here so that you can meet Haejun and talk to him. But Haejun is not at home. Park Dal says it doesn't matter. Then Yoonju shows Haejun's room to Park Dal, seeing which she is very happy. There, Kim and Haejun go to meet Haejun's dad. Then Haejun asks his dad, why have you come here? On this, his dad says, I have everything. Only I don't have any child. Therefore, the people on my wife's side want to establish their right over my property. Therefore, I want you to come to America with me. Haejun says, for this, you can also adopt some child. His dad says, yes, I can, but you are my blood, so I want you to come with me. On this, Kim and Haejun say to him, what do you think? Are we beggars that we will go with you for money? Then they keep their money on the table and go away from there. Then these two are sitting on the beach side. There, Haejun is getting very angry. Okay, for this reason, he wants to take me with him. Then Haejun says to Kim, you don't tell all this to Yoonju and dad. Kim says, okay, Then Haejun's dad comes to meet Yoonju's dad and says to him, I am Haejun's dad, and I want to take him with me. Hearing this, Yoonju's dad is surprised and says, I will not let you take Haejun with you. These two are talking. Then Yeonju and Park Dal come there. So Yeonju's dad says to her, I am talking about some important matter here. You people go outside. Hearing this, those two go outside. Outside, they meet Haejun and Kim, so Yoonju tells them, inside, some uncle has come. Dad is talking to him, and he has sent us outside. Hearing Yoonju's talk, Haejun and Kim think, he must be Haejun's dad, so they quickly go into the restaurant and look for Haejun's dad here and there, so they do not see him. Seeing this, Yeonju's dad tells them he has gone from here. Then Kim and Yoonju go away from there. After they're going, Yeonju's dad gets a little angry at Haejun. Why did you not tell me all this before? Then he says to Haejun, your dad wants you to go with him, but I do not want you to go with him. I want you to stay here and complete your study, but I will not force you. It is your wish wherever you want to stay. Hearing such talk of Yeonju's dad, Haejun starts crying. So Yeonju's dad hugs him. On the other side, Kim tells the whole matter to Yeonju. So Yeonju is surprised hearing all this and asks, will Haejun's dad take him away? Kim says, yes, perhaps he might take him along. On this, Yeonju says, no, Haejun cannot go from here. Then Haejun comes there, and hearing all this, he starts crying even more. Then he goes to Kim and Yeonju while crying, but both of them send him away. So he lies right there and starts crying. There, Haejun's dad is going, then he collides with a lady and goes forward from there. Here we see that lady. This lady is Kim's mom, and with her is also a little girl. Actually, Kim's mom has married someone else, and now she also has a daughter. The child asks Kim's mom, we are going to meet brother, right? Kim's mom says, yes, we are going to meet brother. Here, Yoonju's dad tells the whole matter to Kim's dad. So Kim's dad says, what will you do further now? Yoonju's dad says, if I have to hire a lawyer also, I will do it, but I will not let Haejun's dad take Haejun forcibly. Then Yoonju, Haejun, and Kim are sitting on the roof. Then Yoonju brings that letter and tells them, someone has given me a love letter and now I will also start dating. Hearing this, Kim does not feel good. And Haejun tries to take that letter from Yoonju, but Yoonju does not let him take the letter. Then Kim comes there and takes that letter. So Yoonju looks at him and smiles, so Kim also looks at her and smiles. The next day, Kim receives a call from his mom, so he does not pick it up. Then these three get ready and go to school. As soon as she reaches school, Park Dal meets Yoonju and says, I have found out who that letter giver is. Hearing this, Yoonju is happy. Haejun and Kim are also watching all this. Then Haejun says, we should find out how that boy is. There, Yoonju asks Park Dal, how did you find out who that boy is? Park Dal says, because of our classmates. At the time that boy was keeping that letter on your desk, 2 students of our class had seen him and they only told me. Then Haejun is doing his practice. Then he finds out from his friends who that boy is. Then he comes running to Kim and also tells him about that boy and says, I have heard from my friends. That boy is very good. Come on, let's see him. Kim says, okay. There, Yeonju and Park Dal are becoming happy after seeing that boy. Then Yeonju is going into the class, then she collides with that boy. Because of this, she almost fell, but that boy saves her. This boy's name is Junho. He says to Yeonju, you have found out about me. Yeonju says, yes. Then Junho asks her for a date, so Yeonju says, yes. At this time, Haejun, Park Dal, and Kim are watching them. Then Junho and Yeonju go to a restaurant where they treat each other in a very good way. After the date, when both are going home, then they are very happy. Junho says to Yeonju, I will drop you to your house. Yeonju says, no, I will go. Then Junho says to her, I have heard, those who have single parents, their house environment is not good. Junho talks about her family in such a way that hearing it, Yeonju does not feel good, so she goes away after being angry with him. And along with that, also says, behave in school as if you don't know me. Then Yeonju is going home in the bus, and she is very sad. Then everyone in the house is eating food where Haejun tells everyone about Junho. He is a good boy. Kim does not like his talk. Then Yeonju comes there, and she sits to eat food with them. So everyone asks her about her date, so Yeonju says, I did not like that boy. Hearing this, Kim is happy. The next day, Junho meets Yeonju and says, whatever I said yesterday, you forgive me for that. Yeonju says, okay, forgiven. Then Junho says, can we live just as friends? On this, Yeonju says yes. So Junho becomes happy. Then Kim's mom comes to the school to meet Kim. When Kim comes out of school, then he sees his mom. At that time, Yeonju is also with him. He tells Yeonju to go from there. After that, he goes to a restaurant to talk to his mom, where he says to his mom, you have remembered me after so many years. His mom says, I was a bit busy, therefore I could not come. These two are talking, then Yeonju and Haejun, standing outside, are watching them. Haejun asks Yeonju, why are you standing here? Yoonju says, I am standing here so that if Kim's mom wants to take him along, I can stop her. Haejun says, nothing like that will happen. Then he tells Yoonju to walk from there. Yoonju does not go, but Haejun goes from there. When he is going, then he remembers his mom, how his mom has left him and gone. Here, Kim's mom tells him about her daughter and says, if you come with me, then I will forgive you for your sister's death. Hearing this, Kim gets angry and he says to his mom, it is not my fault in this. At that time, I was also just a child. Saying this, he comes outside and holding Yoonju's hand, goes away from there. After coming a little forward, Yoonju asks Kim, what did your mom say? Kim says, she scolded me and nothing else. Then a sound comes from Yoonju's stomach, so these two go to a restaurant to eat burgers. After that, they both also eat cake and are very happy. Then Kim's dad is going somewhere. Then he sees Kim's mom on the way, so he meets her and says hello. After this, they both are in a restaurant, where Kim's mom tells, my husband is opening a branch here, therefore I have come here for a few days, and I want that when I go, Kim should also go with me. I've also talked to Kim about this matter. Now I want you to convince him that he should go with me. Hearing all this, Kim's dad gets angry and he refuses her and goes away from there. Then at night, Kim's dad tells everything to Yeonju's dad, and along with that also says, if Kim leaves, then I will become completely alone. Kim's dad is very worried because of all this. There, Kim's mom goes home, so Sohwei says to her, when will brother come to us? Kim's mom says, he will come soon. Then everyone is in the house and they all are talking about this matter. They ask Kim, will you go with your mom? Kim says, no, I will not go with her. Then Kim is in his room. Then Haejun comes there. Both are talking about each other's parents. Then while talking, an argument happens between those two about this matter that whose parents are worse. Kim says, my mom is bad. She has only come here to put blame on me. Haejun says, my dad is bad. He first left me and now he has come back to take me. About this matter, an argument happens between those two, so Haejun goes away from there in anger. The next day, Haejun's dad is talking to someone. My son is not ready to go with me. That man says, if it's like this, then you should think of some idea how to bring him close to you. There, Kim meets Junho and says to him, Yoonju is still young, so don't put her in these dating matters. Junho says, okay, there. Haejun comes for football practice, then sees all his friends are eating things. Then he also comes and starts eating with them and along with that asks, who has given all this to you? Then his friends tell, all this has been given by your dad. Haejun says, okay, my dad has given it, but where did he get so much money? On this, a boy says, this has been given by your rich dad. Hearing this, Haejun gets angry. So he takes those things from everyone and throws them. A boy tries to stop him, so Haejun starts fighting with him. Just then, Kim comes there and stops Haejun. Then, when Kim and Yeonju return home from school, then they meet Kim's mom and sister on the way. Then they all are in the restaurant where Kim's mom is telling him to go with her, and Kim is refusing her. Just then, Haejun comes there, and seeing all this, he remembers his mom. Then Kim, after refusing his mom when he comes outside, then Haejun says to him, you should give your mom one chance. On this, Kim says, why are you taking her side so much? She is not good. She left me and went away. About this matter, both start fighting, then everyone comes there and stops them. Then at night, everyone is eating food. Even then, Kim and Haejun do not talk to each other, and after eating food quickly, go away from there. The next day, Yoonju tells Park-dal, Kim and Haejun have fought. At night, I tried to appease those two, but those people are still angry with each other. These two are talking about this very thing, how to end the anger of these two. Just then, Junho comes taking a pamphlet of a place and says to Yunho, will you go here with me? Hearing this, an idea comes to Yunho. Then she takes Kim and Haejun to that place and says to them, I have put on headphones. Now you talk and finish your fight. Then Yeonju starts pedaling. So from behind these people start talking. First these two say sorry to each other, but later these two again start fighting. When Yeonju sees this, she gets angry at those two. Then when these people, after pedaling, return, then Yeonju leaves those two and goes away saying, I will come with Park-dal. There, when Park-dal is coming, then some boys start troubling her. Then Yeonju comes there and fights with those people. So those people push her, because of which she falls down and becomes unconscious. Another girl of their class sees all this and she quickly tells all this to Haejun and Kim. Then Haejun and Kim quickly come to Yeonju, and seeing her unconscious, they get angry, so they go and fight with those boys. Then they all are in the police station, where Kim's dad forbids them all from fighting again and then sends them. Then Yoonju is feeling sleepy, so Kim and Haejun come into the room and make her sleep. Then these two come outside and decide, We will act in front of everyone that our fight has ended and we have become friends again so that no one is worried because of us. The next day, while going to school, those two act in front of Yoonju as if those two have become friends. So seeing this, Yoonju is happy. Then she meets Parkdal and says to her, now those two have become friends again, so now is the right time. You confess your love to Haejun. Then in the break time, Yoonju forcibly takes Parkdal along with her to Haejun, saying, you confess your love to him. There, Haejun is drinking water. Then his ex-girlfriend, Ju, comes to him and tells him to come into a relationship again, but Haejun refuses her. So Ju says, you are refusing me for this reason, right? Because you like Parkdal? On this, Haejun says, no, I don't like Parkdal. She is Yoonju's friend. Therefore, I talk to her sometimes. Parkdal also hears all this, so she thinks, there are no feelings for me in Haejun's heart. Therefore, she goes away from there without talking at all. Then, after school, Kim and Yoonju go to take a gift for Haejun because it is Haejun's birthday. Then Kim's mom and Soo-hui have also come there. Kim's mom receives a call from someone, so she goes to hear the call. Then from behind, Soo-hui sees Kim, so she comes to him. Kim and Yoonju are surprised to see her alone here. Then Kim's mom comes there and again starts scolding Kim. Seeing this, Yoonju gets angry, so she tells her many things and takes Kim away from there. After this, those two go to a place to listen to music. After going there, Yoonju says, I should not have talked to your mom in this way. Kim says, no, what you have said is said right. The next day is Haejun's birthday. Then Auntie also comes there, who while talking says to Haejun, you should go with your dad and should not become a burden on them in this way. Yoonju's dad hears this talk of Auntie, and he does not feel good hearing this. Then when everyone is eating food, then Yoonju's dad drinks a lot, and then he says to Haejun's auntie, why have you said that Haejun is a burden on me? He is not a burden on me. He is my son. Yoonju's dad talks in such a way here that everyone becomes emotional and starts crying. Then Haejun takes them into the room and makes them sleep. After this, Haejun is going to drop his auntie to the bus stop. Then on the way, his auntie says, Yoonju's dad is very good. So whatever he has done for you, you must surely repay. Haejun says, don't worry, I will surely repay. The next day, Haejun's mom comes to the restaurant to meet Yoonju's dad. Seeing whom, Yoonju's dad is first surprised and then says to her, you stop, I will call Haejun. Haejun's mom says, no, there's no need to call Haejun. I have only come to meet you. Then she gives those money to Yoonju's dad, which she had once taken as a loan from Yoonju's dad. When Haejun's dad looks at those money, they are more money. He says to Haejun's mom, this is more money. Haejun's mom says, the rest of the money is for Haejun's education. After this, Haejun's mom starts going from there, so Yoonju's dad is saying from behind, at least meet Haejun once. Haejun's mom says, no, I will not take Haejun with me, so then there is no meaning in meeting him. Saying this, she goes away from there. So Yoonju's dad is saying from behind, what will I say to Haejun? The next day, everyone is having breakfast, then Haejun's auntie sends him a photo of her newborn baby. Seeing this, Haejun and the rest are all very happy. Then when Haejun is going to school with Kim and Yoonju, even then he is becoming happy after looking at that baby's photo and says, I will go to meet him soon. Then Yoonju says, today Parkdal's mom has invited us to lunch, so we have to go. Then these three go to a restaurant with Parkdal and her mom for lunch, where Parkdal's mom asks Haejun and Kim about their grades. So their grades are very good. Hearing this, Parkdal's mom gets angry, so she starts getting angry at Parkdal in front of everyone. Why are your grades so low? Then these three, making an excuse, take Parkdal with them to the beach. After going there, Yeonju and Haejun start having fun, but Parkdal is sitting there sad. So Kim gives her his notes and says, a lot of help will come to you from this. Then Parkdal receives a call from her mom, so she goes away from there. Then Haejun also receives a message from his auntie, so he also goes away from there. After this, Kim and Yeonju are left there, so Kim asks her, shall we go home? Yeonju says, no, we will go after a little while. There, Haejun comes to the hospital, and seeing the baby, he is very happy and says to the auntie, he looks like you. Then a nurse is also there. She says, no, he does not look like you. He looks like that lady who came yesterday. Hearing this, Haejun is surprised and asks, who was that lady who came yesterday? On this, the nurse says, his sister came. Hearing this, Haejun asks his auntie, did mom come here? So the auntie tells him, yes, she has come to meet me. Hearing this, Haejun feels bad. Then Yeonju's dad is telling Kim's dad, Haejun's mom came and she has given me money for Haejun's education. Now, I am not understanding how I will tell this matter to Haejun. He will feel bad knowing that his mom has come here and has not even met him. These two are talking these things. Then Haejun comes there and hears the talk of these two, and he feels bad hearing this, and he stands right there outside and starts crying. Then at night, when Kim and Yoonju are returning home, Then they see Haejun sitting sad at a place, so they ask him the reason for this. Haejun first says that everything is fine, but later on Kim and Yoonju's repeated asking, he tells them everything truthfully why he is sad. Then Haejun comes home, and then Yoonju's dad is washing clothes. He comes to them and starts washing clothes, and along with that, he also tells them, I have found out my mom came here and she has given you money. I was going to repay to you, but my mom has paid back. I have not liked this. And if she comes again, then you tell her, I do not want to meet her. Saying this, he goes outside to dry the clothes, so Yoonju's dad goes after him and says, You are my son, so there is no need to repay, and after this, do not talk like this. Just then, Yeonju comes there and she asks her dad, Has Haejun told you my mom came here and I have found out about it? Yeonju's dad says, Yes, he has told me, and now there is no secret here. Yoonju says, This is a good thing that he has told everything. The next day, Haejun's dad comes to meet Haejun and again tells him to go with him, but Haejun refuses to go with him. Then it is the day of Kim and Haejun's exam. So when they are going for the exam, then Yoonju and the rest all say all the best to them. After this, those two go to give the exam where they give their exam very well. After giving the exam when they are coming, then after telling each other about their exam, they are becoming happy that our exam was very good. Then at night, everyone parties and enjoys a lot. The next day is Haejun's match, so everyone comes there and enjoys that match. Haejun plays the match very well here and wins. Haejun's dad has also come here. Kim sees him. Then when Haejun's dad is going, then Kim tries to stop him, but he does not stop. Then Kim comes to Haejun and tells him, I think your dad has gone to meet Yoonju's dad. Hearing this, Haejun becomes a little worried. There, Haejun's dad shows a photo of a place to Yoonju's dad and says, I want to take my son here. Can you send him here? Hearing this, Yoonju's dad is worried. Haejun's dad is talking in such a way. Just then, Kim's dad comes there and drives them away from there. After they're going, Yoonju's dad, after looking at the photo of that place, is thinking, I will never be able to send Haejun here. Then Haejun's dad is going, then he meets Haejun on the way. Then these two are in a restaurant where Haejun says to his dad, Don't come here. Here Haejun's dad again tells him to go with him, but Haejun, after refusing him, goes away from there. Then he goes to practice basketball. And there also, he is lying and thinking all this. Then Haejun comes home and eats food. Then Yoonju's dad asks him about his future plans. So Haejun says, if we don't talk about this matter now, it will be good. Then these three are sitting on the roof where Kim receives a call from someone and who tells him, your mom and her husband have had an accident in which her husband has died on the spot. Kim becomes very sad hearing all this. Then he tells all this to the rest too. After this, Kim and his dad immediately go to the hospital where the doctor tells them, we have saved her, but right now we cannot say when she will start walking properly. Hearing this, Kim and his dad are quite sad. Here, everyone in the house is being worried. Then Kim messages them, Mom is fine now. So seeing this, those people feel relaxed. Then his sister comes to Kim who tells him, meet our mom and dad. So Kim makes her understand that she cannot meet them right now. Then So-hwe's uncle tells her to go home with the maid. So So-hwe does not go with her and says, I will stay with brother. On this, Kim says, you people don't take tension. I will take care of her. Then Kim receives a call from Yeonju, so he comes out of the hospital to talk to her and talks to her. Yeonju asks him about his mom's condition, so Kim tells her about his mom's condition. The next day, Yeonju goes to the hospital to meet Kim, but there, she sees Kim happy with his sister, so she returns without meeting him. Then after returning, she also tells this matter to Haejun. So Haejun says to her, you have gone there, so you should have met Kim, right? Yeonju says, I did not want to disturb them, therefore I have not met. Then Haejun comes to the restaurant. Then he sees that Yoonju's dad has increased the restaurant hour. Then he goes inside and starts helping in the work. Just then he sees Yoonju's dad has become quite tired. So he, after making him sit, starts massaging him and along with that, asks him, why have you increased the restaurant hour? Yoonju's dad says, in this time I am free, so I thought that I should give a little more time to the restaurant. Actually, Yoonju's dad is doing all this so that he can send Haejun to that place whose photo Haejun's dad had shown him. There, Kim returns after taking medicine. Then he sees his mom sitting on the ground and crying a lot. He tries very hard to handle her but is not able to handle her, so he comes outside. Then So-hwe's uncle tells Kim, walk with me so that you can handle your mom. Hearing their talk, Kim thinks, how should I handle my mom? Then he goes to his mom and is thinking this very thing. The next morning when Yoonju and Haejun wake up, they see dad is not at home. They go to the restaurant to see him. Then they see dad is lying on the ground there. They try to pick him up, but they fall right there and become unconscious. So Hae-jun and Yeonju take them to the hospital. When Yeonju's dad comes to his senses in the hospital, he says, "What am I doing here?" Yeonju says, "You had become unconscious, therefore we have brought you here." Then Yeonju says to her dad, "I had also forbidden you from doing so much work, but you have not listened. And now see, because of your doing more work, your health has deteriorated." Yeonju's dad says, "I am fine." Then he sends Yeonju home. Then, after a little while, Yeonju's dad is discharged from the hospital. So Hae-jun and Kim's dad bring them home. Then Kim's dad and Yeonju's dad are sitting together where Kim's dad says to Yeonju's dad, "I know why you are doing all this. Since Hae-jun's dad has shown you the photo of that place, since then you are doing all this." They both are talking about this matter. Then Hae-jun comes there and hears the talk of those two. And he feels very bad knowing this, that because of him, Yeonju's dad is so worried. Then Hae-jun goes to a friend of his and shares all his talk with him. So his friend says, "You do one thing, you go to your rich dad. This will end their worry." Hearing his talk, Hae-jun thinks, "Should I go to my rich dad?" Then Hae-jun returns. Then he sees that Yeonju's dad is working, so he also starts working along with him. Then, after finishing work, when Yeonju's dad is closing the restaurant, then Hae-jun says to him, "Because of me, you are having a lot of worry, so I have thought that I should go with my dad." Hearing this, Yeonju's dad is surprised and tells him to stop, but Hae-jun says, "No, I will have to go." Saying this, he goes away from there. The next day, Kim comes home, so seeing him, Yeonju is very happy and runs and hugs him. Then everyone is in the house. Then Yeonju's dad tells Yeonju, "Bring some stuff from the market." So Yeonju goes to the market to bring the stuff. Then Kim and Hae-jun are on the roof, and those two share all their talk with each other, and along with that, also say, "We both are going from here." Just then, Yeonju comes there, and she feels sad knowing this, that those two are going from here. She tells them to stop, so those two say, "No, our going is necessary." Then Yeonju's dad comes there, so Yeonju says to them, "These two are going, you stop them." Hearing this, Yeonju's dad asks Kim, "Are you also going?" Kim says, "Yes, I am also going." Then Yeonju says to her dad, "You tell them to stop." On this, Yeonju's dad says, "The decision they have made must have been after thinking carefully." Then at night, Kim also tells his dad about his going. So hearing this, Kim's dad tells him to stop. So Kim says, "If something happens to Mom, then we will have regret for our whole life. Therefore, it is better that I go with them." Hearing this, Kim's dad says nothing. Then these two drink together. The next day, Hae-jun and Kim are going from there. Then Yeonju's dad comes to them and says a goodbye to them, but Yeonju does not come there. She, standing above, is watching all this and is very sad. After the going of those two, everyone is very sad. Then at night, Yeonju is sitting on the roof. Then Kim messages her, "We have reached our destination." Seeing this, Yeonju says all the best to them for their new life. Then after 1 year, it is Yeonju's birthday. They are celebrating it. Then Kim and Hae-jun are also with them on video call. Then the next year, it is Yeonju's birthday. So those two wish her birthday on message. Then the next year on Yeonju's birthday, Hae-jun video calls and Kim only messages. The year after that, on Yeonju's birthday, those two neither call her nor message. Seeing this, Yeonju is very sad. In this way, 10 years pass. Yeonju has now opened a bakery of her own. She goes out to take some stuff for the bakery. Then someone comes into her bakery. When Yeonju returns, then she sees that the door of her bakery is open. Seeing this, she thinks someone is inside. Then she goes inside and starts catching him. So while trying to save himself and run from there, in between he accidentally slaps Yeonju. Seeing this, Yeonju starts hitting him. Then these two are in the police station. Then Yeonju's dad and Kim's dad come there, who get angry at him. Then he shows his face to everyone, so seeing his face, everyone is surprised. This is none other than Hae-jun. Hae-jun meets Yeonju's dad and Kim's dad. Then he goes to meet Yeonju, but Yeonju does not meet him. There, Kim goes to Yeonju's bakery. Then he sees the stuff scattered, so he becomes worried. Then Yeonju is saying to the inspector, "I don't know him. Write a complaint against him." On this, the inspector says, "We cannot write a complaint." Then Kim comes there and asks Yeonju, "Are you fine?" Yeonju does not talk to him either. The inspector asks them, "Do you know each other?" Yeonju says, "They have remembered us after 10 years, therefore I do not know them." Then everyone comes outside. Yeonju says to those two in anger, "Why did you people not come back for so much time?" On this, those two say to her, "We are sorry." But Yeonju does not forgive them. Then, Yeonju is going for the bakery, so Kim says to her, "Come, I will drop you." Yeonju says, "No, I will go," and then she goes from there alone. When she reaches the bakery, then she meets Park Dal there, who asks her, "Are you fine?" Yeonju says, "Yes, I am fine." Then those two are cleaning the bakery. where Yoonju tells her that Kim and Hae-jun have come back. Hearing this, Park Dal is happy. Then Hae-jun and Kim go into their respective rooms and are happy after seeing their rooms, which are still exactly like before. Then at night, everyone eats food together. During eating, they do not talk much. Then after eating food, they all are sitting together. Then Kim and Hae-jun tell, "Now we will stay here forever." Hearing this, Yoonju's dad and Kim's dad are happy, but Yeonju is not happy. Then she gets up and goes outside from there. So Kim and Hae-jun go after her and try to appease her, but she does not agree and goes towards her apartment. The next day, Yoonju and Park Dal come out of their apartment to go to the bakery, so they are surprised after seeing Kim there. Kim also gets scared after seeing them. Then he calls Hae-jun and calls him outside. Hae-jun comes outside, then he has not worn a shirt. When he sees Yoonju and Park Dal, then he starts hiding himself. Then Kim goes from there and Hae-jun also runs into his apartment. Yoonju goes after him and scolds him a lot and says, "You people knew, right, that I live here. That's why you people have taken an apartment here." Hae-jun says, "Yes, we knew, and we have taken it for this reason so that we can stay close to you." Then in the hospital, Kim is in a doctor's uniform and a presentation is going on there. After the presentation, Kim's senior tells him to give his introduction, so Kim gives them his introduction. Then he comes outside, so he meets Jun-ho and Ju. They also work in this same hospital. They say hello to Kim, and Kim also says hello to them, and along with that, he says to Jun-ho, "Stay away from Yoonju." There, Hae-jun comes to her bakery to meet Yoonju. So Yoonju says to him, "Right now you don't have a job, so don't stay in the apartment and go stay with Dad." On this, Hae-jun says, "I am looking for a job, and I hope that I will get a good job soon." After this, Hae-jun meets a man and tells him to find out about a place. The man says, "Okay, I will find out and tell you." Actually, Hae-jun has earned a lot of money by working at various places in these 10 years, and now he wants to take a property for Yeonju's dad with those money. Then, at night, Yeonju closes the bakery and comes out, so she finds Kim standing there. She asks him, "What are you doing here?" And he says, "I was waiting for you to come." Then those two go to an ice cream shop where Kim takes ice cream for both. Then those two are going while eating ice cream. And along with that, Yoonju is telling him that quite a lot has changed here. Then Kim wishes her birthday. On this, Yoonju says, "Right now, the time for this has not come." Kim says, "I felt like it, so I said it." Then Kim receives an emergency call from the hospital, so he says bye to Yeonju and goes to the hospital. There, Hae-jun goes near Yeonju's apartment and knocks on her door. Then Park Dal comes out from there. So he asks Park Dal about Yoonju, so Park Dal tells him Yoonju has gone to her home. Then Hae-jun says to Park Dal, "You are still like before. You have not changed at all." Hearing this, Park Dal is surprised. Then, after coming inside, she thinks, "I have had my hairstyle change, so why am I still looking like before to Hae-jun?" The next day, Kim receives a call from his mom, and she asks him, "When will you come back?" Kim says, "I will come soon." Saying this, he cuts the call. Actually, Kim has come after lying to his mom and sister that, "I am going to spend a vacation, but he has come to stay here forever." Then it is Yoonju's birthday, so everyone together celebrates her birthday, but here they stay a little quiet. After this, Yoonju, Hae-jun, and Kim, all three are sitting in the park. Then Yoonju asks those two, "Why did you two not contact me?" On this, Hae-jun says, "I was in America, but Kim was right here in Seoul, yet he did not contact." On this matter, Yoonju gets angry at both. Then those two say sorry to her. After this, Kim is going to drop Yeonju to the bakery. Then on the way, he says to Yeonju, "I wanted to come back, but Mom did not let me come back." Here we are also shown a flashback. Kim is packing his luggage to come back, but his mom stops him and does not let him come back. Then the flashback ends and Kim says, "I will stay here forever now and will never go back." Then in the evening, all of Yoonju's friends come to her bakery and everyone has a lot of fun together. Then Hae-jun also comes there and he helps Yeonju in the work. Kim is also coming here, but his night shift starts, so he is not able to come. The next morning when Yoonju and Park Dal come out of their apartment, they see that a gift is placed outside their door. Yoonju looks at it, then there are earrings in it which Kim has placed there. Seeing this, Yoonju feels very good. Then at night, Yoonju closes the bakery and comes out, so Kim is standing outside. He sees the earrings in Yoonju's ears, so he is happy. Then Kim confesses his love to Yoonju, and along with that, also says, "I have been liking you since a long time ago, but I could never say it before." Hearing this talk, Yoonju is surprised. Then she comes to her apartment and is thinking this very thing. Seeing her, Park Dal asks her, "What has happened?" But Yoonju does not tell her anything. The next morning when Yoonju and Park Dal come out of their apartment, Yoonju sees Kim standing there, so she runs back inside. Seeing this, Park Dal asks her, "What has happened to you? Why did you go back inside?" On this, Yoonju says, "Some of my things were left. I am bringing those." Then Park Dal and Kim are going in the lift. So Park Dal says to Kim, "I don't know what has happened to Yoonju. She is doing strange things since last night." Kim asks, "Is she doing it since last night?" Park Dal says, "Yes." Then she asks Kim, "Have you said something to her?" Kim does not give any answer, so Park Dal asks him, "Is it possible that you like her?" On this, Kim says, "Yes, I like her." Then Yoonju, sitting in the house, is thinking all this that just then her door knocks. She thinks, it must be Kim. But when she opens the door, then Haejun is there. He comes inside the apartment and says, "I am hungry." Hearing this, Yoonju starts making something for him to eat. Then Kim is in the hospital. Then he receives his mom's call, but he does not pick up that call. Then Yoonju is cleaning in the bakery. Just then she receives Kim's call. He says to her, "Let's go for food." So Yoonju, making an excuse of work, refuses. The next day, everyone is sitting in the house and eating food. Just then, Haejun says to Yoonju, "You marry me so that we can become a family." On this, Yoonju says, "What does this matter? If dad adopts you, even then we will become a family, so what is the need to get married?" Then Kim and Yoonju are on the roof, so Yoonju says to Kim, "I will not take what Haejun said seriously, and I will not take what you said seriously either." Hearing this, Kim says, "But I seriously like you, and I want that we start our new life." Saying this, he goes away from there. And after his going, Yoonju starts thinking about this very thing, what she should do further. Then when Kim and Haejun are going, then Haejun says, "I had said this so that we can become a family." On this, Kim says, "We are still a family now, and you don't need to do all this." Here, Kim's dad receives a call from Kim's mom, who says, "Kim's vacation is about to end, so send him back soon. My treatment is also about to start, so I want Kim to be with me at that time." On this, Kim's dad says, "Kim said, I have come here forever." Mom says, "No, he has not come forever. He has come only for a few days." Then after the call ends, Kim's dad and Yeonju's dad and Yeonju, all three fall into thought because Kim has said to them that he has come here forever, but the mom is saying that he has come only for a few days. Then at night, Kim receives messages from his sister. "Mom's treatment is about to start, so you come soon." Kim looks at the messages but does not reply. Then Kim remembers how his mom always used to keep telling him things that he is responsible for his sister's death. The next day, Kim's dad and Yoonju's dad call Kim to meet and ask him, "You have said that you have come here forever, but your mom is saying that you have come only for a few days." On this, Kim says, "I have come here forever only. I have lied to mom because she was not letting me come here, but now I will stay here forever and will never go back." The next day, Yoonju comes to the hospital to get her dad's checkup done. During the checkup, Kim gets their help done. Then when Yoonju is going from there with her dad, then she sees Kim talking with Ju. So seeing this, she does not feel good at all. Then Yoonju is in her house, and she is being worried thinking this very thing. Just then, Park Dal comes there and asks her, "What has happened?" Yoonju says, "Nothing." Then Park Dal receives a message from her mom who tells her to go on a blind date. Seeing this message, Park Dal says, "My mom keeps sending me on blind dates again and again. I have become troubled by all this." Yeonju says to her, "Then you select one among them." Park Dal says, "I want that person with whom I get a feeling of love." Hearing this, Yoonju goes into her room and starts thinking about Kim. Then she calls Kim and tells him to eat food together. The next day, Haejun goes to meet his auntie and is very happy to meet her. Then those two, sitting in a restaurant, also talk a lot. After this, when Haejun is returning, then he sees a lady going, seeing whom he feels that she is his mom. Then that lady goes forward and collides with Yoonju's dad, because of which the luggage of both of them falls down. When they are picking up the luggage, then Yoonju's dad sees that lady's face. She is none other than Haejun's mom. Seeing her, Yoonju's dad is surprised. Here, Haejun is still standing right there. Then Park Dal comes to him and says, "You don't worry, I will not tell this secret of yours to anyone." Haejun, after seeing a lady, was considering her his mom. Haejun says, "No, it is not like that." Then Park Dal and Haejun are in a restaurant where Park Dal says to Haejun, "Become my fake boyfriend because I have become tired by going on blind dates." Haejun says, "Okay, I am ready to become your fake boyfriend." There, Yoonju's dad and Haejun's mom are also in a restaurant where Yoonju's dad says to Haejun's mom, "You should meet Haejun now." Haejun's mom says, "No, I will not meet him." Saying this, she goes outside, so Yoonju's dad goes after her and asks, "Why do you not want to meet him?" On this, Haejun's mom says, "Because a murder has been committed by me." On the other side, Yoonju and Kim have dinner together and also talk a lot. Then when they are going home, then rain is happening, therefore they stop under a tunnel, where Kim is removing the rain drops from over Yoonju. In between, he goes near her and kisses her, and then he says to Yoonju, "Now we will always stay together." Yoonju says, "Okay." After this, those two hug each other. After this, both are in their respective houses and are thinking about each other and then start talking on messages and are very happy. The next day, Kim comes to the bakery, seeing whom Yeonju is very happy, and then these two are talking to each other. Just then, Junho, Ju, and another friend of theirs come there, so in In front of them, these two react as if they both are only friends. Then, after they're going, these two again start talking to each other. Then, seeing Yoonju's dad worried, Kim's dad asks him, "Why are you worried?" Then Yoonju's dad tells him, "I met Haejun's mom and she has told me that a murder has been committed by her, and for this very reason she does not want to meet Haejun." When Kim's dad finds all this out, he also becomes worried. There, Park Dal has gone on a blind date with someone. Then Haejun comes there and he says to Park Dal, "What are you doing with him?" Hearing this, that boy asks Park Dal, "Who is he?" So Park Dal says, "He is my boyfriend. We had a little fight, therefore I have come to meet you being angry with him. But now I have realized that I cannot live without him." Hearing this, that boy goes away from there. Then these two are walking in the park where Park Dal says thanks to Haejun for helping her. These two are talking. Just then, that same man comes whom Haejun had told to see a plot. He tells Haejun, "That plot has been sold, so now we will have to look at some new plot for $800,000. Haejun says, "Okay, you go. I will meet you later." Park Dal is also standing right there. She is surprised hearing all this. She asks Haejun about this matter, so Haejun says, "These are my savings and I want to take a property for dad with them." On this, Park Dal says, "What if he does not like that? It is better than this that you first ask him what he wants and then take for him what he likes." Haejun says, "You are saying right. Now I will do exactly like this." Saying this, Haejun goes away from there happily. Then Haejun goes to meet Yoonju's dad and gives him his passbook. When Yoonju's dad looks at it, seeing so lot of money in it, he asks him, "Where did you get so lot of money?" Then Haejun tells them, "I have collected this money by working at various places in these 10 years so that I can repay to you." Hearing this, Yoonju's dad gets angry. "I consider you my son, and you want to repay to me?" Then he scolds Haejun a lot and sends him away from there. Then Haejun comes to Park Dal and says to her, "I have talked to dad, but he has sent me away after getting angry at me." On this, Park Dal says, "He has raised you like his son. If you say to him that you want to repay to him, then he will surely get angry at you, right?" Then, at night, Yoonju's dad closes the restaurant and is going, and along with that is thinking, "I should not have talked to Haejun in this way." There, Kim's health is a little bad, so Yoonju comes to him and takes care of him. Then, after making him sleep, she herself goes outside, so Kim also comes outside and sitting with her, starts talking, and then those two fall asleep right there while talking. The next morning, Yoonju wakes up. Then she sees Kim has made breakfast for her. Seeing this, she is happy, and then both start having breakfast together. Then Kim is in the hospital, and he calls Yoonju and tells her to have dinner together, so Yoonju says yes. So hearing this, Kim is happy. Just then, Ju comes there, and she asks Kim, "Is Yoonju your girlfriend?" Kim says, "Yes." Hearing this, Ju is happy. There, Haejun is working with dad. Then he receives his friend's call, so he goes from there in a hurry. Then he goes to a place where he sees his mom, who is very happy. Seeing them, Haejun thinks, "Should I go inside or not?" Then he starts to go inside, but stops and goes back. Then at night, Kim and Yoonju, after getting ready well, are going for dinner. Then they see Haejun sitting sad at a place on the way. So they ask him what has happened. So Haejun tells them, "I have seen my mom today. She has opened her own salon here." After saying this much, he goes away from there, so Kim and Yoonju also go after him. Then when they come after him to the apartment, then Haejun says to them, "You people go, I will handle myself." After this, Yoonju comes outside and Kim somehow brings the address of the salon from Haejun. Then those two go to the salon to talk to Haejun's mom. When they reach there, then Haejun's mom and Yoonju's dad are talking. Seeing dad there, Yoonju is surprised and asks her dad, "What are you doing here?" Then Yoonju says a lot of things to Haejun's mom. "How can you do like this with Haejun? He loves you so much, and you are doing all this with him." Hearing this, Haejun's mom sits down and says, "I also love Haejun very much. A few years ago, a murder happened by me by mistake. For this reason, I kept Haejun away from myself because I did not want Haejun to face anything because of all that." Hearing the talk of Haejun's mom, everyone becomes emotional. There, Kim's mom and sister come to Kim and Haejun's apartment. Then Haejun welcomes them well, and then he also tells Kim, "Your mom and sister have come." Seeing this message, Kim and Yoonju immediately return. While returning, those two have held each other's hand. When they see Haejun, they immediately separated their hand. Haejun also sees them holding hands, but does not pay much attention. Those two come to Haejun, so Haejun says to them, "Where had you two gone?" Then he says to Kim, Your mom has come, so you meet her. When Kim then meets his mom, then his mom scolds him a lot and tells him to come back with her. But Kim flatly refuses to go with her, saying, "You always keep blaming me for my sister's death. Therefore, I will not go with you." There, Haejun and Yeonju are waiting for Kim's arrival. Then Kim comes outside Yeonju's apartment and thinks about going inside but does not go. The next day, Haejun goes to meet Dad and tells him last night Kim's mom came to meet him. Hearing this, Dad becomes worried and thinks, could she have come to take Kim back? Then Kim meets Yeonju and says, "My mom wants to take me along, but I want that you don't let me go." Hearing this, Yeonju hugs him and says, "I will never let you go." Then Kim's dad comes to the restaurant. So Yeonju's dad tells him the matter of Kim's mom coming here. Then Kim is in the hospital, so his sister comes to meet him and tells him to come back, but Kim refuses her, saying, "If I remain in front of mom, then she will not be able to forget old things and will never be able to get well. Therefore, it is better that I don't come back." Then Kim's mom also comes to meet him and says to Kim, "I will not behave like this again. Therefore, you come with me." On this, Kim says, "No, I will not go with you." Then he goes to drop his mom outside. There, Haejun goes to Park Doll's house to meet her where those two talk a lot. Here, Kim is coming out taking his mom. Just then, Yeonju has come there. Kim's mom again tells Kim to come with her, but Kim refuses her, so his mom again starts scolding him. Seeing this, Yeonju turns Kim towards her side and says to Kim's mom, "You had left him with me in childhood. Therefore now I will not let him go with you. He will stay here with me." Seeing this, Kim's mom says to Kim, "So you have come here for her?" Kim says, "Yes." And then those two go away from there. Then those two come to a place where Kim says thank you to Yeonju for stopping him and then hugs her. Then at night when Kim returns, then Haejun is sitting there beforehand. He says to Kim, "What's the matter? You did not tell me why your mom has come here." On this, Kim tells him the whole matter. Then those two drink and fall asleep right there. The next morning, Yeonju comes to wake them up. First, she wakes up Haejun, but he does not wake up. Then she goes to wake up Kim, so Kim pulling her makes her lie near him and kisses her. After this, Yeonju immediately goes from there. Then everyone is eating food together. Then Kim says to them, "I have talked to mom. I will not go back and will stay here." Hearing this, everyone is happy. Then these three are on the roof, where Kim asks about his mom on call from his sister. Then Kim goes to Haejun's mom and tells her, "Haejun misses you a lot." Along with that, he also says to her, "You should meet Haejun." On the other side, Haejun is in the bakery. There he sees a couple, so he remembers, I had seen Kim and Yeonju together. Then he thinks, is this true or have I seen some dream? Then when Kim and Yeonju return, then Yeonju is going into her apartment, but Kim takes her along into his apartment and he is about to kiss her. Just then Haejun comes there and sees those two. So seeing this, he is surprised and the cans fall down from his hand. Hearing the sound of the cans when Kim and Yeonju turn there, then seeing Haejun, they get scared. Then Haejun goes to them and asks, "This is a lie, right? You both are joking with me, right?" Yeonju says, "No, what you have seen is true. We both like each other." Hearing this, Haejun goes away from there being angry. When Yeonju starts to go after him, then Kim says, "You stop. I will talk to him." Then Kim goes outside and talks to him. So Haejun says, "Now you both will be together. Then you will leave me, right?" Kim says, "Nothing like this will happen." But Haejun is a little angry here, so he does not listen to his talk. There, Yeonju also tells the whole matter to Park Dal. Then Kim comes there. So Yeonju asks him, "Has Haejun agreed?" Kim says, "Right now he is a little angry, but he will agree soon." The next day, Haejun is jogging. Then he sees that Park Dal falls there from the cycle. So he takes her to the hospital. Then when Kim and Yeonju come there, seeing them, as Haejun starts to go from there, before that Kim, taking Yeonju, goes from there. After coming outside, Yeonju asks Kim what has happened. So Kim says, "Haejun is angry with us. He feels that if we become one, then we will leave him." Yeonju says, "Why does he think like this? He is a part of our family." Kim says, "When he was in America, then he had called me once and said, 'My dad and stepmom have a son now. Now they are happy with him and want to kick me out.'" Hearing all this, Yeonju is sad. Kim says, "For this reason, he feels that if we become one, then we will leave him." Then at night, Yeonju goes on a walk with Haejun and says to him, "Why do you feel that we will leave you? This will never happen. You are a part of our family and will always remain so." Hearing this, Haejun becomes happy. Then he asks Yeonju, "When will you tell Dad about yourself and Kim?" Yeonju says, "I will tell soon." The next day, Yeonju and Kim go to have lunch with Kim's dad where Yeonju is first a little afraid, but later she starts talking to them in the same way as before. The next day, Haejun goes outside his mom's salon. He thinks about going inside but does not go. Just then, his mom comes outside and sees him and asks him, "What are you doing here?" On this, Haejun, after saying a lot of things to her, goes away from there. Then Haejun is sitting in the park. Then Park Dal comes to meet him. So Haejun tells her the whole matter. So Park Dal says, "You should meet her once and ask why she has done so." On this, Haejun says, You are saying right. The next day, Haejun goes to meet his mom and asks her, "Why are you doing all this with me?" Haejun repeatedly asks his mom about this, but his mom does not tell him anything. Just then, Yoonju's dad comes there and he tells Haejun's mom to tell the truth, so Haejun's mom tells the whole truth to Haejun. Hearing the whole matter, Haejun starts crying, and then here, everything becomes fine between Haejun and his mom. Then they bring Haejun's mom home and everyone eats food together, and they are very happy. After this, those three are on the roof where Kim and Yoonju say to Haejun, "Now your mom has come, so you will be very happy, right?" On this, Haejun says, "Yes, I am very happy." There, Haejun and Yoonju's dad are talking. Then Haejun's mom asks Yoonju's dad, "Why do you help me so much?" Yoonju's dad says, "Just like that." Then Kim's dad comes there. So Yoonju's dad introduces him to Haejun's mom. Then at night, Yoonju comes to meet Kim and asks him, "When will you tell dad about us?" Kim says, "I will tell them tomorrow itself." The next day, Haejun and Park Dal are standing at a place and waiting for a taxi. Then while talking, Haejun says to Park Dal, "You always help me and understand me. You are very good." On this, Park Dal confesses her love to him and then runs away from there. Then, after coming to the apartment, she also tells this matter to Yoonju. So Yoonju says to her, "You should have brought the answer, right?" Park Dal says, "At that time, I did not understand anything, how I should react, therefore I have come running from there." Then everyone is eating food in the restaurant. Then Kim and Yoonju stand and tell everyone, "We both are dating." Hearing this, Kim's dad is happy and accepts their relationship, but Yoonju's dad goes away from there saying, "I will give the answer to this after thinking." The next day, Haejun comes to meet his mom and says, "I want to live with you per yet." Mom says, "Okay." Then she is looking at his photos in Haejun's mobile. Then in it comes a photo of Haejun playing basketball. Seeing this, his mom says, "If you like basketball, then you should make your career in basketball." On this, Haejun says, "I don't like basketball that much." Mom says, "So you can also give coaching." Hearing this, Haejun falls into thought. Then Haejun's mom is going inside the restaurant. Just then, Yoonju's dad comes outside to clean, because of which Haejun's mom becomes unbalanced, and as she is about to fall, Yoonju's dad handles her, and in between those two come close to each other. Just then, Kim's dad comes there and sees them, and then goes away from there. After this, Haejun's mom and Yoonju's dad come into the restaurant and start talking to each other. There, Haejun says to his friend, "Say yes to the coaching phone call." Hearing this, his friend is happy. Then he asks Haejun, "Park Dal has proposed to you, so what have you thought? What answer will you give her?" Haejun says, "I am thinking about this matter, what answer I should give." Then he is going, and along with that is thinking about Park Dal only. The next day, Haejun comes to meet his mom and says, "I have applied for coaching." Hearing this, his mom is happy. Then she says to Haejun, "You said that you want to live with me, but will Yoonju's dad send you to live with me?" On this, Haejun says, "You don't take tension of that. I will think of something." Then he talks about this matter with Yoonju, and both together decide they will get their mom and dad married. Then they all can live together. Then Haejun says, "But how will we bring those two close?" These two are talking. Just then Park Dal comes with someone. Actually, Park Dal's mom has again sent her on a date. When Haejun sees those two together, then he feels very bad. There, Kim's dad comes to Yoonju's dad and starts teasing him by telling the matter from yesterday. Then, after that boy is going, Park Dal and Haejun are sitting in a park, where Park Dal tells him, "My mom had sent me on a date, but I have refused him because I like only you." Hearing this, Haejun also says, "I have also started liking you, so come on, let's start dating." Hearing this, Park Dal is happy, and from here, their love story starts. Then at night, Yoonju's dad and Kim's dad are drinking, where Kim's dad says to Yoonju's dad, "You should marry Haejun's mom." By this, Haejun will get the love of both his mom and dad. Hearing this, Yoonju's dad falls into thought. Then Kim's dad calls Kim's mom and asks about her health, so Kim's mom says, "I am perfectly fine." Then she tells Kim's dad, "My daughter is going to the UK and I am also going to the UK with her." Kim's dad says, "Okay, you take care of yourself." Saying this, he cuts the call and then is looking at the family photo after taking it out from his vault. Then at night, Haejun and Park Dal talk on call with each other and are very happy. On the other side, Yoonju falls asleep right there while working in the bakery. Just then, Kim comes there and wraps his coat around her. By this, Yoonju's eye opens and she is happy after seeing Kim. And then these two start talking. The next day, Yoonju goes to meet Haejun's mom and says, "Become my mom." So hearing Yoonju's talk, Haejun's mom says, "Yes, I will become your mom." Then she comes to the restaurant to meet Yoonju's dad, and after talking a little here and there, she asks Yoonju's dad, "Will you marry me?" On this, Yoonju's dad says, "Yes," and both are very happy. Then everyone is eating food together, where Yoonju's dad says, "I am ready for Kim and Yoonju's marriage. But if in the future a fight happens between these two, then I will take only Yoonju's side." Hearing this, Yoonju says, "Don't you worry, it will never be like that." After this, everyone starts talking about Yoonju's dad and Haejeon's mom's marriage, and they are very happy. Then, after 1 month, Yoonju's dad and Haejeon's mom's marriage happens, and everyone there is very happy and gets photos.